Seguimos con The Fitness Revolution con Julian Diasa por Latinísima. Aquí hablamos todos.
We live in a society today that is making you confused. Whether you're young, a little older, or old. What you see in social media about business is something I call business pornography. Why is that? Because what you see is young people, especially, driving cars that are $1 million, $500,000, and working 2 hours a day while they're in a yacht. And reality is that business is nothing like it. Today on the Fitness Revolution podcast, I have somebody that went from 0 to 100 real quick. With a real business, with struggles and challenges. Welcome to the Fitness Revolution podcast, my man, Eoghan. Eoghan, tell me. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing, man?
Really good. Thanks
Very
for having
good.
me.
I'm excited to have this conversation with you because I have something for you guys here. I have the daddy hat that I'm going to put on because he's the daddy in business, all right? Eoghan, I want to reverse engineer this. A company that can make $100 million in sales in 1 year. How do you do that? Like, explain to me the logic behind from 0 to $100 million in sales. Like, I don't know. I haven't get to that point yet. I want to know how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to get there. Maybe it's probably good to start at some of the mistakes and things that we went through to get there. So,
First of all, let's talk about how you started and what is it that you guys do. So we have a context of, oh, okay, I see. This is what we sell and this is what we start.
sure. Yeah, so right now, I'm one of the owners and founding team of an export distribution company. So
Okay,
we
cool.
basically export all of the American types of food that you would find in a supermarket, in a Walmart. We export that to 50 countries
Wow, that's a
in
lot.
Central America and the Caribbean. So we started basically from my friend's spare bedroom. He had started it a few months before it started to take off, and I joined the team with him to really lead the sales and marketing side of that. But if we take a step back, we had both been entrepreneurs for me anyway, 20 years trying to make something happen, right? I had web design companies. I was a web developer before. And I could always get to a certain point through word of mouth where I can live, I can survive, making money. But how do I go from there to a massive company?
Yeah.
Right? And bridging that gap is really hard. So I went through a series of different companies, web companies, events companies. The events company was taken off. It was the first gamer expo in Ireland. I'm from Ireland, and Ireland spends more money on video games than any other per capita in Europe. But we didn't have a gaming show, like an expo or something like that. So we set that up. And that was right around the 2008 recession. And the event center, a week before our show, lost their events license, and all events were suspended. So we went from 10-year business plan, looking at event centers that we were going to buy, to zero.
Wow.
No refunds. We had to refund the tickets, but no refunds from our
You lost all
vendors.
that money.
Yeah, all the PR we invested for the last year. I was depressed, to be honest. And after a couple of months of thinking about that, my dad said, hey, you need to travel. Get out of here. Clear your head. So I went to the UK and planned to continue traveling, but came across a technology agency that basically worked with Microsofts of the world, Dell, those kind of guys. And they would come and want to launch a product in Europe. Hey, we want to bring this product. There's 20, 30 countries in Europe, all the different languages. How do we bring it there? And through working at that company, I learned how big companies launch and develop new markets. It can be in any language. How do we build the team? How do we get the leads? How do we qualify those leads? How do we close them? How do you manage sales teams? How do you develop
Big
leaders?
sales team.
Yes. Yeah, 20, 30 people we would have. So we would do that from one vendor, build them $100 million in pipeline. They would say, wow, that's way too much. So we would say, look, we'll set up a sales team. We'll handle the small and medium deals. You take the strategic ones. And they said, okay, that works perfect. So we would do that for one vendor and another one. And that's what brought me out to the US, was to open the US side of that. And I did that here for a few years. That's where I met my co-founders in this company, American Foods. So we said, hey, we've got the skills now. Let's go and set up a company. So we set up, actually it was a video live streaming company where you could book a class with a teacher, whether it's fitness or yoga.
I remember I was part of that company.
Yeah.
That I wanted to help develop that company, and somehow it didn't go through. I don't remember what happened. It was great. The idea was awesome. I thought it was very advanced for the time being.
Yeah.
It was before all these streaming things. You were thinking about it already.
Yeah. Before COVID.
Yeah.
Before COVID, it was, video streaming wasn't the way it is today. Remote work wasn't the way it is today.
But you thought about it before all of this.
Yeah. My partner had the idea, and I had the technical ability, and we put it together. But we followed the advice out there of other big tech founders who just say, focus on the product, focus on the product, focus on the product. And we didn't focus enough on the customer. So it ended up not taking off. People who used it loved it, but the level of scale that we needed to make it work.
You couldn't scale it as you scale the other businesses in Europe.
Yeah, because it was a totally different model.
Right.
How we did it in Europe, we built sales teams, we talked to customers, we understood business, and we helped people with solutions. It worked when we spoke to you, like, hey, do you want to get involved? Yes. But we weren't talking to 100 Julians every day.
Yeah.
We were trying to make it happen through word of mouth and things like that, just forgetting the fundamentals. And I think, I tell you that story because I think the hardest thing as a founder is not having ideas. Entrepreneurs have so many ideas. It's which one do you focus on? And how do you break through the noise? What's actually holding you back from the current level of success that you have? And what's going to break you through to the next one? A lot of times we need guidance on that. But when we went from there into American Foods, my founder tells me all the time, he's like, I sat there with big ideas and watched you code it instead of being with customers, and we never bridged that gap. So in American Foods, it was like customer first. What do you need? How do we help that person? How do we maximize what we're doing there? And let's add the next one.
At what time, at what moment did you know that idea was like, whoa, this idea could work? Like, what were the elements that you saw in the marketplace at that moment that you identify the opportunity to have a big company or to make a company that is actually scalable?
So that's a great question. One part of it is you have to be focusing on a problem that the market agrees that they need, right? With Vista, we were focusing on streaming before the market knew they needed streaming. So you had to sort of convince people about it, which is hard. For us with American Foods, we were solving cold chain. So imagine lunch meat for your sandwiches or hot dogs or bacons that have to be refrigerated. It has a short shelf life, so it's a pain for customers to handle. So we were solving that pain. Let me fix that part for you. And they knew that was a pain. But what helped that scale is repeat business.
Because people eat food all the time.
Yeah. You have to think about your customer life cycle. If you're trying to sell a product for $50 and that person's only going to buy it from you once, how many customers do you have to get every month in order to grow?
Right.
What's the life cycle of repeat business from people or helping them spend more with you, the ones that want to? If you map that out, then you can start to build layers of repeat business or increased value per customer. So your customer lifetime value goes up.
So when you start a business with your friends, you start in a garage, you told me, in a basement?
In a spare room, yeah.
Let's say in a room.
Yeah.
Very like Apple and these big companies. I love that.
Yeah.
I need to do that too. So you guys decided, okay, this is what we're gonna do. How did you fund it? Like, because I know a lot of young guys, entrepreneurs that have difficulties understanding the financial part of the businesses. Like, often we believe we need a lot of money to start a business, but in the back end, we don't need a lot of money to start a business. What we need money for is for marketing, to create teams, and to spread the voice, to make your product and your brand recognizable in the shelf, in this case. How did you get the money? Did you finance? Did you guys put together a little bit of your savings? How you did it?
Yeah. Well, on Vista, which was the live streaming, we put our savings and maxed our credit cards, and then that didn't work, so we had to recover from that.
Yeah. So they destroy their credit, and then they have to wait like 7 years again. So you see, this is what I love to have people like him here that have done it, because business is not the illusion that you see in social media. It's not like that. I wish I can tell you, hey, put an LLC together, do a pipeline of customers through Instagram, and you're gonna make $1 million. You know how much people really make $1 million? I have the fact here. Less than 5% of businesses in America make 1 million over. Meaning the money that you put on your pocket, not what you sell. No. How much money you put on your pocket is less than 5% of people that can actually say they profit more than $1 million. So keep going, Owen. I just wanted to say that because we live in an era that people are just so out of it.
Yeah.
And they expect things to happen so fast.
Yeah.
We've been, him and we go back in time. I remember I was talking to him about when we saw each other in Tony Robbins' conference. That was like 12 years ago. And at that time, we were thinking about business. And now is when we're actually profiting from our businesses. That's which right. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of setbacks, a lot of frustration. You gotta avoid partying, things that most people are doing. You gotta avoid, you gotta focus. And as you know, focus is something very rare nowadays.
Yeah.
So keep going, because I had to take it out of my system.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, funding is hard. Like I said, we put everything we had into Vista, and then we didn't ruin our credit, but we didn't have any more to pull down from, and we had used up our savings. So on the second one, my co-founder, he started the company a few months before I joined him, and he literally says, I started this with $1,000 in my spare bedroom because that's all I had.
Wow, that's admirable, dude.
Yeah, so to go from $1,000 to we started the company in 2019, and it's done over $100 million in revenue.
That's crazy.
You know, close to 60, 70 each year now. At this
so not only, and this is something key for everybody out there, is not only the money element, but because this happens to me, when you fail in a business, there's a lot of insecurity that comes with it. There's a lot of doubts that comes with it in your mind. You say, would I be able to put it off the next time? Because I already done 3 failed businesses. Why just get a job and just pay the bills? And that's the temptation you need to beat and you need to conquer. If you fail 3, 4, 10 times, you only needed to make it work 1 time. And that's exactly what he did, what they did. Keep going, Owen.
So you're right. The average millionaire in the US, I believe, has failed on average 3 times. And a lot of them go bankrupt once or twice, yeah.
Yeah, because it's a learning process. It's like I always... This is a Fitness Revolution podcast, and when people see Fitness Revolution podcast, they think we're talking about weights. But the gym is a very complex environment that really exemplifies real life, because you gotta go to failure to growth.
Yes.
In weight training, but in business you also have to fail to learn. Otherwise, I don't care what you say. I don't know any entrepreneur that went to the moon or did it great the first time. I don't know any yet. You gotta learn. It's like walking. You can't possibly start running at 6 months. You gotta walk. You gotta stumble. Then you run a little bit. Then you have your balance, your proposition. Then you go. Business is the same.
Exactly. And the other thing I think translates from fitness as well is the attitude of just do it. You know, the days that you don't want to do it, when you're feeling down on yourself, you don't have the energy, it's not working, you're not getting the results that you want, you have to just tell yourselves to go and do it. Or in business, a lot of times we overanalyze and think too much about what's the next move. But you'll often see maybe people that you know who weren't the smart one that you thought was going to be successful, and they had incredible success because they just don't overthink or overanalyze. They just keep working and getting things done.
I figured in my case, because I'm very honest, I have the perfectionist issue that for a product or for a business, I want it to be so perfect before it's actually launched that sometimes I waste a lot of time doing so. And there's not such a thing as a perfect product, because it's perfect for you.
Yeah,
it's not perfect for them. So you gotta take a risk. Like you said, in fitness and in business, you gotta take a risk. Let me ask you this: Did you have doubts at that point with your partners? Like, yo, we're broke. We have failed many times. You put in $1,000. Your wife is gonna kill you. Mine as well. What we gonna do? Did you have that conversation?
100. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, because it's important to mention too that you don't do business yourself. Like, you have family. You have now kids. You have a wife. At that time, you have a girlfriend. And you got to put that into consideration, because you're affecting their life with your decisions as well.
Yeah.
Because you got to put money away from the family to the business, which is something that people don't often talk about. Yeah. Tell me about that.
That's true, yeah. Coming straight off Vista not working out, which was live streaming. We actually took the servers off, like the we're done day was a week before the COVID lockdown. So imagine how much of an idiot you feel when you close it all down and now there's a mandatory everything needs to be remote, right? And it wasn't like
that was a blow for you.
Yeah, that was a mental blow. So on this one, that's why it took a few months. When I say I joined them a few months later, was because I was very hesitant about that. It's like, hey, I don't know if I can just jump into something straight away. Is it going to work? So we took a few months. He closed the first couple of customers, and based on the strength of that, we talked a lot, and how the philosophy on this new one was going to be, we need to spend time with the customers, make sure we're focusing on the business, what's going to drive the needle, not the things that maybe we're very excited about building for the company, which are important too, but it has to be revenue driven. So, but with that focus on the customers, that got us our first couple of big vendors, and we basically put together, my friend did put a partnership together where that vendor was going to sponsor some of the program launches that we were doing with this customer, and that gave us funding basically several months to say, we got to make this work. Let's go and take the chance.
So he was agile enough to convince the customer, in this case,
the vendor, yeah,
to finance his own marketing and activation of their own brand.
Yeah. With
that money, then you can build
exactly
and execute.
That's right.
That was a brilliant move. Sorry. So if you don't understand, it's like, I have this customer here. We sign a deal. I am convincing him to give me money in advance without me doing anything yet, so we can do a launch or we can do activations of the product, so we can draw more customer in. You have to have a lot of sales experience, ambition in order for you to do that. That's when the experience comes. If you wouldn't fail or your partner, you wouldn't be able to pull that.
No.
And then that business would be done by now.
That's right.
How did you guys feel when you got that first, second, third, fourth, fifth big ass deal, and you say, fuck, I'm making some money finally.
Yeah. It felt incredible, man. It just felt like, wow, we're living the dream we always wanted to live, you know? That spare bedroom was in an apartment looking at the ocean, so it wasn't too bad of a place to be.
Right.
We joke about doing, customer calls on the balcony with a beach view, but it felt incredible, just being able to build a company that was very high growth. We actually made it onto the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies in America.
That's what's up.
Yeah, we were top 14 in the food industry. And that was, first year we did 250% growth, and every year after that has been 150%. So it just stacks up. Now we're multinational. We've got offices in Panama, and we're distributing to 50 countries. But to see it actually come to life and this is really working, it's a feeling it's hard to describe.
It's amazing because, this is what it takes. Is hard work, long nights, frustrations, failures, after failures, after failures. And then after all the mistakes that you've done, you figure a way for the next time it happens, you adjust. You think differently. The people that are surrounding you, and this is the importance of who you hang out with. Because if they would have been hanging out with people that were just party animals, that company wouldn't work. If you were hanging out with people that were negative and pessimists and didn't have the ambition to actually keep going besides the obstacles, it would be a failure. So the people that you talk to, the people that you hang out with, whether business, fitness, or life, determine a big percentage of your success in life. I have a very important question for you because this is something that is very, I need to know what's up with this. When you start the company and you start making money and then you have this experience, going back at it, strategically talking, where did you think you make a mistake? Because although you're very successful, we screw it out at some point.
Yeah.
Did you this time make a mistake, or it was more like a flawless process that came because of the experience that you guys had?
It's never a flawless process. I think business is about solving problems. That's the reality of it. Every day there's a different problem. You just get better at solving problems.
Good answer.
If you think it's just going to be problem free, then that's not the way it works. It just changes. You have different problems. It's it can be people problems, finding the right team. We've had to replace our team so many times. Maybe the skills that some people have in the beginning are not what you need today. So as your company grows, you need different skill sets. Maybe that doesn't match what that person wants for their career. They're not the right person that you need to be the next leader in that department. Now you have to find leaders. You have to develop leaders. And managing your vendor relationships, your strategic partnerships, and your customers, you're always going to make mistakes. And the longer you have relationships with somebody, it's like, have you ever had a girlfriend that you never had a problem? Now that you're experienced with girlfriend, you never have a problem. There's always problems, right? And it's just about how do you solve them? How can you get better communicating to the people that you're letting somebody down? How do you communicate that and work through that? Or how do you do it better the next time? So you just have to really love solving problems, and it really humbles you. Like you have to let go of the ego and say, right, what did I do wrong? Is this me taking accountability? Do I need to do something differently? Am I hesitating with something?
I love that answer. And to finish the episode, I have a message for you that you're watching or listening to this. It's all about perspective and how you see things. In this episode, I want you to understand, and the purpose was exactly that, for you to understand that although business is not easy, you can do it. Because I believe, Owen, everybody have a capacity to do something great. Whether it's making a bubble gum that is amazing. That'll solve a problem. Making whatever, a fitness app. Making a great bread. I love bread. I'll pay whatever for good bread. I don't know how to do it. That's the problem. So think about what are your skills and what skills can you get to become better at whatever you want to do. Because the marketplace nowadays is so big that I promise you, you rather want to make mistakes, you rather want to sacrifice, you rather want to go at it than working from somebody's dreams. Time is the only commodity that we have that is not replaceable. It's not coming back. Use your time wisely. Make your decisions with love and intention. Have a vision and discipline. And next thing you know, you can be like him. A very successful business man or women. We never talk about this in school. We have never taught how to make money, how to be happy, and how to be fit. And those are 3 elements that are key. And that's why we're talking about this in the Fitness Revolution podcast. I hope you like this podcast episode. Subscribe, hit the like button, and share, because sharing is loving. And this type of conversation have to go outside. All right. Julian Diasa here. Eoghan. Ciao, ciao.